Hey guys, what's up? So, the next poem I'll be reading is 1025, and this is called Envy from the Seven Deadly Sins. I thought it'd be clever to write seven stories individually of the seven deadly sins, but have each one connected to the other. I wanted all of them to be really dark, but also to have a message how one sin could take over and affect our lives. Envy from the Seven Deadly Sins. So I'll grade your exams this weekend, but all of you be prepared with your PowerPoint because that will count as a major part of your grade this semester. Professor Abrams repeated himself, realizing a lot of the students were such in a rush to leave his classroom, perhaps because it's Friday. Well, that's what he thought. He turned around and started erasing what was on the chalkboard. His entire classroom wiped out within minutes, except one student. He was actually right by his desk. It was Jimmy. Professor? He turned around and adjusted his glasses. Yes, Jimmy? Did you need something? He nodded his head, trying not to get emotional. I was wondering if you can give me a copy of the syllabus so I can give to Janice. The professor cleared his throat, about to speak when Jimmy spoke first. I know she's not exactly a student here anymore, but I believe she's going to do a comeback, and I want to believe that she will. She loves your class, sir. You were her favorite teacher, and she did well. She's going to wake up. He kept nodding his head. The professor nodded his head yes and went into his bag and gave him a copy. After cleaning his classroom and getting all of his belongings, he hit the switch and locked his room. The dean walked by. Can I have a word with you in my office, Abrams? I smiled and followed him. We walked by Professor Anderson's room. She was just leaving as well. The dean smiled at her. Have a good weekend. There were rumors going around that they were sleeping together. It wouldn't be the first scandal, but what makes it worse is that she's married. I sat on the chair in his messy office. Oh, that won't be necessary. This is actually going to be very quick. I got up and looked at him. I think you're a great educator. I have walked in and seen you on some of your lectures, but the school did a survey of who's your favorite professor from the students that attend the school, and you ranked the least. I laughed. So now it's a popularity contest? I thought my job was to educate the minds. The dean moves from the desk and got closer to my face. It is, but it makes it easier for them to get educated when the teacher's liked. And unfortunately, you're not. I couldn't believe this. So what are you going to do? Let me go? And now I still have classes. I mean, right in the middle of the semester. Who are you going to get to take my place? I'm the one that create those lessons. He smiled. Well, I'm not going to let you go. I suggested you to Clayton University, and I believe Professor Anderson will be great. I couldn't take it anymore. You're going to give the woman you're sleeping with my job to get rid of me. Excuse me? I laughed and then looked at him. You heard me. He slammed a folder on his desk. I did, and I take that back. You're fired. Get the hell out of this school. I couldn't believe that. I said that, but I also couldn't believe that I was fired. I worked in this university for 13 years. I walked down the steps to the school. It was drizzling. I kept thinking of all the students I helped graduate, what Jimmy said, and all the years I worked hard, especially considering I had no kids, no wife. This job was my life. I got into my car and started driving. The rain started coming down harder and harder, but I kept thinking of Professor Anderson. She knew nothing about world history. Her style of teaching was showing movies. That way, she wouldn't have to come up with lessons. He annoyed me. The rain kept coming down harder. I could barely see. I hit something and blacked out. Sir, are you okay? My eyes opened and there was a refined gentleman. He was holding a crimson umbrella. It wasn't raining as much. Are you okay? I think your car hit the railing. I fixed your flat while you were passed out. I got out and noticed he did that what he said. Thank you very much. That's very nice of you. He smiled. I kind of figured you needing it. I sat back on the driver's seat. What made you think that? He laughed. The box in the back, perhaps? Did you lose your job? I nodded my head as he handed me his card. Apparently, he was a therapist. Mr. Refusal. If you need someone to talk to, I smiled and said, something to think about. He told me to have a better rest of the day and shut the door. I continued my drive back home, took my wet clothes off, took a shower, and head to bed. I broke through a glass of a window. This was so odd. I couldn't control what I was doing. This must be a dream. I walked into a house and heard screaming of two people having sex. I kept following the voices until I reached the room. The door opened and I saw Dean and Professor Anderson fucking. They didn't see me until I started screaming, and oh my god, I had a knife in my hand and I started stabbing them over and over and over and over again. Blood everywhere. I woke up. Thank God it was a nightmare, only to see an entire room filled with blood, and the knife just fell out of my hands.